I was pretty stoked to see this on eBay. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. To start off tonight's episode, we actually need to go to our goodbye stories first. This one's probably gonna upset some people, but I sold the Ebony Block 1962 SG. And this was a Christmas special episode from 2 years ago. I purchased it from the original family. They were selling it in order to purchase a car for their daughter. And when they got here, I was just so excited to have a vintage SG. I forgot to plug it in and test it. And the neck pickup ended up being dead, so I had to send it on down to Lindy Fralin. So you can check out these 2 episodes where I figure that all out and where we document the rewinding process, and I eventually found a slightly more era-correct case for it. It's not the perfect one. This is technically later 60s. As long as you got the orange interior, that's what's cool. But I had to do some soul-searching if I really wanted to sell this, because I doubt I would ever buy another one of these simply because they're just so expensive, at least asking prices. I was kind of surprised this one didn't sell instantaneously. I was to the point where I had so many tire kickers. I was getting ready to price this one for like $40,000 because all the other broken ones kept showing up for the same price. But this is actually going to Chicago Music Exchange, so I think they have the same idea I have, or maybe they have a buyer in mind. But it was actually the store manager who reached out to me and said he's a player looking for one of these. So we'll have to see if they're adding it to their inventory or if he actually is going to go and gig with it. But instead of taking just a straight cash deal, I actually took a very small partial trade towards this, so we'll have an interesting Gibson prototype coming to the show very soon. I was really nervous shipping this guitar because early SGs, they're just known for heel separations. But I triple boxed it and everything did in fact arrive safely. So goodbye, little SG. We had fun. Let's get into our smaller packages of tonight. I found some really cool stuff on eBay. I like to collect new old stock parts of 70s and 80s Gibsons because I just love their packaging, and many of these parts have become iconic in their own right and were only shortly lived to begin with. And I always seem to have really good luck finding them on eBay rather than Reverb because people just find them in their house, they list them, they don't know about Reverb. And about a year ago I missed out on one of these and I've been sad ever since. But I'm so happy I found these things, even if the box condition is really bad on them. It's new old stock Tim Shaw PAFs. This box is just so cool with them peeking out there. But they actually put a sticker on here that talks about the whole patent applied for thing. Because sometimes on factory original ones, you would actually have a little sticker on here. Your replacement ones actually have a different one that we'll talk about here in a second. But it's funny, it talks about how the trademark of Norland Industries is not a notice of patent application. They're just saying, hey, we're being traditional here. The 5859 sound. Now, unfortunately, the pickup itself is not in very good condition. It looks like they might have had some sort of a plastic topper over it, but flipping over to the back, this one dates to November of 1981. We've got the brass screws, so we know they're Tim Shaw's. Now the big question is, just because you have the box doesn't mean somebody's never used it. You gotta look at the end of the wire. Do you have any solder on the braided part? And do you have any over here? Now you can do really clean cleanup jobs, however this one looks factory original to me. It's never been installed. But the for sale separately Tim Shaw PAFs have this sticker, and they're always applied to the back, so if you ever open up a guitar and you see this on it, somebody's actually replaced it with one of the Gibson available ones. Now, unfortunately, the glue hasn't held on, but you can see the residue of where it was. But this box even still has the original screws. But unfortunately, our plastic on the inside needs doctored up, and so does our cardboard over here. Our other one's in a little bit better shape. It's got the same sticker on the outside. But this is pretty cool, having the original sticker on it. $139. Needless to say, this is worth a little bit more today. Yeah, there we go. That's that plastic sheet I was talking about that might have been over it. So that also helps us verify, yeah, that's just been left over for a long time. But this one was made in 1982. Looks like in August. But this would be considered a match set because of the whole 138, 137 leading. That tells you neck and bridge. Another way you can tell is look at the color coding. So this one is red for neck, and you can tell it's never been used, whereas our other one was yellow. That's for bridge. You can also tell by just how much lead length they shipped them with. So if you were questioning if somebody just snipped it later on down the line, you wouldn't have the coloring if somebody did that. But we also have the dried off sticker on this one as well. So there we go, all doctored up. I decided to see if I could clean off some of the residue. And unfortunately, no, there was some sort of a chemical reaction. You're not going to get that off. But thankfully, it's not too visible. And to fix these sliding about in the box, what I suggest, just take some packing paper and stuff it. Because that makes the new old stock pickups look way cooler. But I also learned something this time. Apparently, if they were a pickup cover version, they have that protective film over them, because so far the Super Dirt and the Dirty Fingers that I have in my collection did not have that over top of it. So if you're selling anything like this, please let me know. But our next one, I've already got one of these in my collection, but it's always cool when you see the original crank tuners. By the way, where's our tuners? Have no fear, you just pack them up separately. I just had somebody asking me like a week ago if I had any for sale, and yes, I will be putting this one up for sale. That's what's fun about this. Once you have multiples, you can go, this box isn't quite as in good of condition. Because I already have a pretty good gold and chrome set that I bought from that dealer who just kept these along that we unboxed a long time ago. But just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about the flip-out winding tuners with the crank built into them. That was their official name, the Crank. Although flip-out winding is much cooler. Our next package was an item I won off of eBay. I got these from the Gibson Dependable shop. I thought for sure there were supposed to be 4 knobs. Yeah, I think I might have to contact him about that. Oops. Hopefully he still has it, because I like buying from his shop because you can see exactly what he pulled the thing off of. Like, for example, this one I believe was of the Paul, because he was just parting one out. So I love having these aged knobs around because A, people ask me for them, and B, I like to restore guitars whenever possible. But 3 knobs isn't going to help me. But vintage poker chips, knowing their authenticity and switch tips is always tricky too, so he's a good resource for that. But our next package, it's sat in my unbox me please pile for a while, so I don't remember what's in here. Yeah, I think that was like a year ago. I really don't even remember buying these. It appears to have replacement tips on it, but they're a Gibson tuner with a protrusion down here. If I remember correctly, there was a very short-lived variation that they used in the 90s. So if you're in need of these tuners, feel free to reach out. And then this is another package that kind of got lost, that Randy's LLC wanted to send me. So whenever we talk about Gibson parts, we normally bring up the brand Advanced Plating Incorporated. Randy's actually sells this stuff on his reverb shop. And to let me know about it, he said, hey, can I send you a little care package? To which I said, sure. But opening one of these up, looks like I got a couple of humbucker rings in this one. Nice pickup screws. These are always so hard to find for reasonable prices for some reason, but I guess he does sell them in all of the various sizes. But I just always think of API as, hey, that's what Gibson uses and a few other manufacturers, but it's crazy. Apparently they're celebrating their 60th anniversary. Our next one has truss rod cover screws, gold. Yeah, those are tough to find too. I was just needing a silver one, now I have it. But it looks like this one has a tailpiece in it. This one is a golden stop bar and some more humbucker rings. So if you need stuff like that, feel free to check them out. But now I've got a couple more packing journeys for you guys tonight. I sold one of the display cases that has the custom authentic 1958 Les Paul standard wording to it. These late 90s, early 2000s shadow display boxes Gibson made are just so cool. They were initially meant to be like displays in stores. They might have sold them separately too. But there's an international buyer who loves these just as much as me, and he saw this on Reverb, he bought it and said, hey, do you happen to have any more? To which I said, yes, but they're kind of in my personal collection. I'm only selling a spare. But he was really looking for a vertical one. And I told him I do have the Gary Rossington, if you're interested, and he ended up being, so I sold both of these because I bought this because that is insanely rare to find it without the guitar. And if I'm being real here, I have no interest in owning that particular guitar to ever display in this, so I might as well go to somebody who's going to make good use out of it. So time to ship these overseas. And if you're selling any of these, feel free to reach out. I'm a little bit sad to have sold this one, but it's the bargain and factory second Les Paul Custom. Such a cool guitar, but when I first purchased it, I didn't think of it as like my personal collection. And normally I wouldn't get excited about a factory second or a bargain, but the fact that there's both stamps is just hilarious on this one. So I'm glad we could at least document it. And it cleaned up beautifully. So very soon we'll have to document that 59 Gibson I bought during the same transaction. That'll be a good one. But this one is going off to Texas. Next we say goodbye to this tiny little friend. Well, the video performed about as well as I thought it would. I knew it would be a flop, but this was a passion project. I just love these tiny little Mando birds, and I was so happy that they brought them back. But this sold within like 2 minutes of me posting my episode, but I thought I'd throw it in here just in case you missed the Mando bird episode. You can check it out here. Up next, we've got another big dog. It's the Jimmy Page #2 moving on to a new home. So I've got a couple of big money deals in the works. I don't know if they're actually going to happen or not, but if the owners decide to sell, I have to make sure I'm ready. So I decided to do a private sale on Reverb, send off those private offers to see if anybody was interested. And Amy was on vacation in Nashville. She had just purchased Jimmy Page #1 and was in the market for Jimmy Page #2, so we were able to strike a deal on that. So that helps get my cash coffers up for hopefully a very fun historic episode, but who knows? We might be too far apart in the long run. But I'd rather have the money and not need it than miss out on getting an iconic guitar or a guitar that is special to me. So, Jimmy Page #2, he's just shipping off to Pennsylvania, which is not too far away from me. But man, that top looks fantastic in this lighting. But that's the end of our Jimmy Page journey here. Both the double neck and the Les Paul found a new home. Now we'll just have to see if Gibson continues to reissue them. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.